Hey guys, this is Nick from ForexForNoobs.com with the midday analysis. Today is Thursday, the 26th of October 2017. Time is 12:09 here in the UK. You are looking at a USDJPY daily chart. In today's analysis, we're going to be looking for reversal and continuation setups on all the pairs listed here across all the timeframes I trade, which are the 4, 6, 8, 12 hour and the daily. Just a quick note for you guys watching this on YouTube, because I've had a few people who message me, especially this week, and say, oh, I've entered that trade that you suggested and it didn't work out. I think a lot of people seem to misunderstand this analysis. You need to understand my strategy to use this analysis. My strategy is shared on the site. There's a link to it below. You need to understand the strategy to use this analysis. You can't just blindly jump into something because I say I think it might be going down. Because when I say I think it might be going down or I think it might be going up, I'm not going to enter that trade until I have confirmation in my strategy that it should be entered. I don't trade based on I think or based on my feelings. I trade when my strategy says this is now likely going down. So when I say there's a potential setup on USDJPY, there's a potential setup on New Zealand USD, so on and so forth, it doesn't mean you should blindly jump in long or short on any of these pairs. It just means maybe if the setup triggers, I'm going to jump in. So that maybe is if it triggers as per the rules of my strategy. Anyway, so let's, I'm going to figure out a more concise way to explain that in the next webinar. But now that that's explained, let's do some analysis. All right, so what's going on with USDJPY? Is anyone short on USDJPY? We spotted this one yesterday as a potential short trade. It formed on the daily, but man, when we spotted it yesterday, it didn't quite look like this. It looked a lot better. By the end of it, let me show you. So when was yesterday? Yesterday we did a webinar at around 2, I think. So it was around here yesterday. By the time this candle closed, it had moved significantly lower, and it's made it so that this trade just doesn't feel as good as it did. I've not entered it yet. I'm not saying that I'm not going to enter this. I'm not saying I'm ruling it out completely, but it's just not as nice as it looked yesterday. Our risk to reward ratio is now a lot worse. So my general rule with risk to reward ratio is I want to hit a risk to reward ratio of 2 by the time it hits the support area. So this support area, by the time it hits this, it should give me a risk to reward ratio of 2. It's only given me 1.67. Now, a solution to that is to enter on a retrace. It's broken the low, so I can enter on a retrace. But entering on retraces is always risky because a retrace is already somewhat of a bad sign. It's not that bad of a sign because it just means that the bears pushed down and they couldn't really hold that move down and they pulled back up. But it's not like they've pulled back up a lot. So I could enter on a retrace now. I'm just pretty apprehensive to do so. But overall, this is still a very strong setup because it's happening from very strong resistance. This resistance area is huge. So I am definitely considering entering now. I just rather enter now or, within the next short while. I think I might look at it a little bit longer and try to decide whether it makes sense to enter. I'm going to get a much better risk to reward ratio. Now, I assume some of you entered on the 12 hour, which would have gave you like a better entry. So you might already be in at a good risk to reward ratio, but I just didn't really see a clear setup on the 12 hour. And the risk to reward ratio based on the low of this candle, that entry is just not that great. So I might be entering on a retrace. Obviously I'll discuss it in the forum thread if I do. So USDJPY, not as good as it looked yesterday, unfortunately, because it's a pretty awesome looking setup in terms of the resistance area being incredibly strong. But it just doesn't feel as good as it did yesterday. Or look as good, I guess, is a better way to describe it. So I'm going to have to update on the forum what I finally decide to do with this trade. And I'll also, for those of you who don't have access to the forum, I'll also update it on the blog. Just give a quick note or something saying, hey guys, I'm entering this trade. All right, New Zealand USD. This is another potential setup we spotted yesterday. This one really hasn't done much. I was waiting for it on the daily, but it just looks like it's moving down again. So what I want to do with this one is hopefully this candle doesn't go down too far and we get a nice setup here. But yeah, it looks like it's pushing down now, so it might not stall here. We'll just see how it goes. I mean, it is counter to the trend, and you know, last time it did push a fair bit below this level. So if it doesn't stall here, it's not too surprising. We're going to wait and see. We're going to continue to hold on and wait with New Zealand USD and just see how it shapes up. All right, USD CAD. Now, USD CAD has unfortunately formed this indecision candle pretty low. Well, it's not really formed yet, has it? I mean, it might form. It has on the 12-hour, though. I'm not sure if I want to enter on the 12-hour, but let's just take a look at it on this time frame for now, just to get an idea of the numbers we're working with. Yeah, see, this candle was formed so low in the indecision. Sorry, this indecision candle was formed so low that it just doesn't really give us enough room to take a short trade. At least not a trade I'd be comfortable with. So I'm very possibly going to skip this trade. We'll see how it shapes up, really. I just wanted to check if this resistance area was accurate, and it is. So yeah, oh sorry, the support area down here that would possibly slow it down. So yeah, I think USD CAD is just off the table, to be honest. New Zealand JPY, that one's continued to go down, so that trades off too. Euro JPY. Now, Euro JPY is one of our best looking ones for today. This one is stalling pretty heavily on this resistance area. The resistance area is not incredibly good, but it is a decent resistance area. Has some pretty good history. So, decent resistance area. Did I just move that down? Decent resistance area. I'm actually going to move this up to be in line with that more recent bounce. A decent resistance area. We've got indecision forming on the resistance area. This is actually looking news in about an hour. I need to decide soon for Euro JPY. What news? I'm not going to enter before news because this is because of the press conference. And this setup could be forming because news is going to push it down. So it's just a wait and see type thing. You could enter before news if you want to, but you know, it's always risky to do that with press conferences and anything where people are talking and it's not just numbers. So I'm going to keep a close eye on Euro JPY and just see how it plays out. All right, AUDUSD. Now, AUDUSD is looking quite nice. We did New Zealand JPY, right? Yeah, we did. AUDUSD is looking quite nice. It's about to trigger, actually, on the 12-hour, that is. On the daily, this one's a tough one because it's about to trigger on the 12-hour, but on the daily, it's not really doing much. Well, I mean, it's forming a decision, but we're obviously not going to be able to enter this until Friday on the daily. So I'm actually kind of tempted to enter on the 12-hour. Just gonna yeah, we just barely get a risk to reward ratio of 2 at the next resistance area. All right, let's keep a close eye on AUDUSD. It could still give us a trade. I'm very possibly going to enter at the 0.7720. We'll discuss it further on the forum. I'll obviously let you guys know if I enter. I need to do some risk analysis. That's why I'm unsure now, but from the looks of it, it's a pretty solid setup, and I will likely enter the trade. Just want to double check something. Yeah. See, what I want with this, what I'm thinking is I'd rather have an entry that's a bit higher. So I might wait until after it breaks and enter on a retrace. It just feels to the next resistance area, it's a bit tight, essentially. Yeah, Catherine, it's likely your connection. All right. AUDJPY, what's going on with AUDJPY? AUDJPY is already turning around. So there's not much potential there. Did we look at GBP/USD? GBP/USD, we spotted a potential short yesterday. It just never really played out how I wanted it to. Basically, all the setups we've spotted, they just really haven't triggered yet. There's a few that are just have not turned into tradable setups. So they went from potential setups to no setups, which is pretty normal. But a lot of them just haven't triggered yet. So we just need to kind of wait with the setups from yesterday. There was nothing on AUD New Zealand, by the way. CAD JPY. Technically adjust that up, but no. I'm going to leave that one. I don't really like CAD JPY anyway. EURJPY's in between support resistance. Euro New Zealand. What's that doing? Just trending up, isn't it? Yeah. Can't do much with that. Euro USD. Euro USD is stuck in this range, but there's no trade opportunity right now on there. GBP AUD broke above resistance, coming back down to it. This could give us maybe a continuation trade, but just doesn't look that great. I'm just going to wait and see with this one. GBP CHF, nothing. We'll flick through a few time frames for that. Yeah, there's nothing. GBP JPY. Yeah, definitely nothing I want to trade. GBP New Zealand. Too far below resistance. USD CHF. Too far above resistance. And GBP CAD, nothing much happening there. Okay, so to summarize, we do still have some pretty cool looking setups today. We have AUDUSD, which might very well trigger soon. I'm keeping a close eye on AUDUSD, especially on the 12-hour. I'm ideally wanting to enter on a bit of a retrace. I want it to break these highs and then kind of like, as it pulls back a little, which is pretty normal, normally what happens, get in just kind of like a few pips earlier. Just because it will give us a better risk to reward ratio. So I'll see how that plays out. I'll update on the forum and on the blog. EURJPY. EURJPY is stalling pretty heavily on this resistance area right now. On the 12-hour, it's already got nice indecision. On the daily, it's stalling pretty heavily. So this one might be entered soon too. But do keep in mind, we have the ECB press conference, which is going to cause a major, possibly cause a major move on this pair. So I'm going to wait until after the press conference to enter. The press conference is 20 minutes away, so we'll just see what happens after, and might potentially be able to enter a EURJPY trade. USDJPY is just not looking too great. I just don't really like the size of this indecision candle, but I'm still considering entering kind of very soon, actually, because this resistance area is quite strong. And there's a high chance that it's gonna pull down, or push down rather. Yeah. So I might still enter USDJPY short. I'll update on the forum and the blog if I do. New Zealand USD, this one's fallen right now, but you know, it could very easily turn into indecision. Just because it's dropping a little bit now, it doesn't mean that it's going to continue down. So we're just going to keep a close eye on this one and just see how it plays out. And USD CAD, no. So today's potential setups: AUDUSD, EURJPY, AUDUSD long, EURJPY short, USDJPY short, and New Zealand USD long if it stalls out. Okay, Ash. I see what you mean. I just don't like CAD-JPY, and I'm not confident on this support area. There's a few factors. I'm not confident on the support area, and I don't like CAD-JPY. But you know what? Just because I don't like it, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't monitor it. So let's keep an eye on CAD-JPY too. Potential long on CAD-JPY. Thanks for watching the analysis. I hope it was useful. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button below. Also, for instant notifications when I post analysis or other cool videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button below. Once the setups I share in this analysis trigger, I post live updates as I manage the trade, such as my entry, exit, stop, and when to get out of the trade. For these updates, add me on Facebook or Twitter by clicking the buttons below. I'll see you in the next video.